All right. Y'all can see good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to give everybody just a few minutes because we just went live to log on. And then we'll get started.
And for me to figure out how to maneuver the mouse.
Cameron to figure out. It's on this screen right there. I think you are. Around the room? Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Okay.
All right.
All right. All right. Well, welcome. I'm so glad y'all are joining us. Cameron and I are here to talk about fueling your run. So get started with a little bit of introductions. I'm Olivia Patchell. I'm the Family Consumer Science Extension Agent and the chair of the Wellness Committee, or the co-chair, was the co-chair of the Wellness Committee. And I am preparing a bunch of lunch and learns to go along with our challenges. So right now our challenge is to turn our walk into a run or to run that 5K. So hopefully this presentation will help you fuel that run, especially if you're new to running, and make sure that you're getting the nutrients that your body needs, as well as the replenishment of that nutrients. Excuse me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure thing. So I know y'all.
You want to step in
I guess I should
step in the limelight.
That's right. Because we're online too, I forgot. So I'm Cameron Lowe, the County Extension Director here. And I don't know, I've been running for, let's see, how old's Ashton? 19. So about 19 years on a pretty regular basis. So I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys and enjoying the time that we have here to help you move your journey along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So one of the things that I think most people do is they think if they're doing a morning workout, should they work out on an empty stomach? So the American Dietetics Association, yes, the American Dietetics Association had this to say. So your body needs fuel to function. Obviously, we know that. And if you're asking your body to function at a higher level, so that running, jumping, swimming, lifting on an empty stomach, then your body's not going to have the fuel that it needs to perform at its peak. So eating in the morning will help replenish your liver's glycogen and steadies out your sugar levels. So it may be hard sometimes to wake up, eat a big meal, and then go work out. So maybe try a smoothie in the morning before you work out, or one of the small recipes that I've shared with you today. I like the energy bites, and I'll talk about those a little bit more later. We've done overnight oats before. That was really popular for us for a long time. So you can have something that's kind of easy to digest, but will still fill you up. Let's go ahead. We'll jump to the next slide, and we'll see what morning workouts should consist of. So as far as eating, what we should prepare prior to a morning workout. So what we're looking at is carbohydrates and protein prior to workout. Most of the time, we're going to talk about replenishing our carbohydrates and protein. A small snack 30 to 60 minutes prior to a workout. And so if you're training for a 5K, maybe you don't need to eat prior to a training run because you're running, walking, you're not expending as much energy, and you're not worried about performing at peak performance. But when you go into like a race setting or you're increasing your distance, especially if you're working out for longer than an hour, you're really going to want to fuel that run or jog, or even a swim or a lift, HIIT workout, anything that's kind of that high intensity. You're going to want to fuel that with something. So 30 to 60 minutes before you work out, a small carbohydrate protein snack. Another example would be like bananas and peanut butter, like the energy bites that we've shown. We did the peanut butter overnight oats. Peanut butter is my go-to because it's my favorite kind of protein and carbohydrate combination. Then at the conclusion of our workout, our main thing, and pretty much at the conclusion of all of our workouts, our main focus is going to be replenishing our fluids, our carbohydrates, and our protein. fluids don't just come from water. So replenishing our fluids with fruits and vegetables is also an option. We want to make sure that we get that our fluid levels back up and that we eat carbohydrates for the energy, as well as carbohydrates are going to help replenish that muscle weakening that we had prior to that we had during our workout. Carbohydrates don't just come from grains, although we often think carbohydrates come from grains only. Fruit and yogurt are also a great carbohydrate option. And then protein, you can get that not just from your meats or your beans, but dairy products, as well as maybe additives like wheat germ, are a great addition, or will be a great source of protein as well. And we want to consume those within an hour of our workout. A midday workout. So with a midday workout, a lot of times during midday workouts, we're doing those during lunch. We don't want to skip lunch because we're working out. We want to make sure that we're replenishing our body, making sure that the carbohydrates, fluids, and protein levels are back up after our workout. So we really want to take care to eat pre and post workout. Pre-workout, if you could do a energy snack 1 to 2 hours before your workout, and that could be the oats or fibrous cereal. Again, those energy bites are a perfect little snack you can have right before you go do your workout. And then I just kind of have a hard and fast rule pre-workout. You need it, and if you're going to eat a meal or something kind of heavy, that you do it between 1.5 to 2 hours before you work out, so that you can get a good, most of it fully digested, so you don't have any intestinal stress. But that's kind of an individual thing. So, just kind of playing with that. If you're going to work out at lunch and you think you need to eat a little bit, or you find yourself really hungry before your workout, just kind of guesstimate, maybe start at an hour, and then if an hour doesn't work, push it back. And then a post-workout, I really like this one because it's something kind of different. A post-workout, quick grab snack, like a yogurt, an orange, or a bell pepper. And that's kind of like the za'atar yogurt cucumber salad that I have made for y'all. And we'll talk about that recipe in just a second. But we'll go to evening workouts. The very last thing that you do if you work out, you should make sure that you eat. Sometimes after I work out, I do not feel hungry at all. But if you go to bed after you've worked out, you haven't replenished, you're not really doing your body any favors. You're going to wake up and probably binge in the morning. So I encourage you to set aside some time to have dinner before you go to bed, even if you're working out in the evenings. Pre-workout, if you could grab something maybe on your way home from work, or right as you're running out the door, a recommendation could be like a jam or a fruit sandwich. And I have a recipe for a really good apple banana sandwich on whole wheat bread. So you get your carbohydrates, your protein, and then your apple is going to have your fluids as well as your antioxidants. And then post-workout, you want to maybe try fast digesting carbohydrates. And that means that your body would go ahead and run through those prior to going to sleep. And you should eat within 30 minutes of working out. So you work out, kind of cool down, drink your water, and then go ahead and eat dinner. Millet bread and cottage cheese with blueberries is what was recommended by the American Council on Exercise as a post-workout meal. And then let's talk about something that's really important. Should we be drinking energy drinks? Do we need gels, or do we need those energy bites? And these are those things that are marketed to long-distance runners. And often when people talk about fueling during their races, is this what they need? So there's really nothing super special about any of the items that are marketed to us for long distance running or to fuel during races. If you're working out for longer than an hour, you may need to refuel. I encourage people to try whole foods. So peanut butter is a great refuel because you can buy it in the packages and just kind of squeeze it in your mouth. Um, or trying something that maybe won't upset your stomach. You need to, when we're talking about fueling, we're usually talking about longer distance running or longer distance intensity workouts or longer time intensity workouts. The main thing we will look at is we're making sure that we're replacing our fluids and that we're doing that safely without added calories or sugar, if possible. And some people do feel like they need the extra sugar boost. So I remind people where Gatorade is originated. Gatorade originated with a football team, the Florida Gators. They wore their full pads, their full uniforms out in the heat and were practicing. And football players just falling out everywhere because they're getting dehydrated. They can't drink enough water to help replenish all the salts that are leaving their body as well as fluid while they're working out. And they're working out for like 3 or 4 hours a day out in the heat of the sun. Now, if you're doing that, drink all the Gatorade you want. Otherwise, it's kind of defeating the purpose of being active because it's added calories that we don't really need. The hydration multipliers are great. I definitely use the hydration multipliers if I work out for longer than an hour. But don't let them be a crutch. So you want to make sure that you're drinking water too. And not thinking because I drank the hydration multiplier that I don't have to drink as much water. And then just, be sensitive to your digestive system. So these concerns, that just clicked off. All of this stuff should be taken based on your personal preferences, digestive tract, and then the intensity and duration of your workout. And I'm back. So just keep that in mind. And as far as all of that stuff that's marketed to runners, whether or not you need to utilize it, it's completely and totally up to you. So I'll talk about the recipes really quickly.
You can probably hear it.
Okay. Yeah. So no bake energy bites. They're these delicious little round energy bites. They're, I would say, probably one of our favorite recipes around here. Mm-hmm. The main ingredient is oatmeal and the old-fashioned dried oats with a little, we usually get the Quaker Man on them, and peanut butter. So 2 of our favorite things. And then the additives in here are going to be your chia seed and your flax. So those are going to give you the extended carbohydrates. So your complex carbohydrates that are going to give you lasting energy. Additionally, we've added some sugars with honey. We, for the ones that y'all are trying today, we did not add the vanilla extract, which is an additional flavoring. And you can add chocolate chips or cocoa nibs, or we've done white chocolate. And then one of the energy bites that y'all have today has pistachios in it as well, just for an added flavor. So you can actually just kind of put whatever you want in here. The binding ingredient is the peanut butter. It does need a little bit of honey because all the other stuff is really dry and a little bit salty almost. So it will need some sort of sweetener, honey, agave, something along those lines. So that's one of the recipes that you guys have. And then the next recipe is the cucumber salad with the za'atar yogurt dressing. And za'atar is just a seasoning. It's a Mediterranean seasoning. This is one of my favorite, and it kind of was a spinoff of the yogurt, apple, or banana, yogurt, orange, and bell pepper that I talked about for a quick lunch grab. So I make this and I keep it in the refrigerator so I can eat it periodically. But it is cucumbers and Greek yogurt, lemon juice, or I used lime juice because that's what we had. The za'atar seasoning, the kosher salt is used to pull the moisture out of the cucumbers, and then olive oil, garlic, and I put dill in there too because cucumbers and dill go really well together. And then freshly ground pepper if that's something that you like. And doing all this kind of to taste. The other dish that y'all are tasting is also one of my favorite black bean salsa recipes. But I did not give y'all, but if you want it, I'll give it to you. Y'all online, you don't get it. So you had to be here in person. You had to be here in person to get that one. So a couple of other things I added, peanut butter, apple sandwiches. It doesn't sound delicious, but it is really good because we love apple and peanut butter. You slice the apple really thin and then add some cinnamon on there. Delicious. And then the mid-morning muesli. This is a great dish as well. Kind of along the lines of your, it just left me, overnight oats. Yeah. Kind of along the lines of overnight oats, but give you a little different flavor here. And there are tons of recipes. I've got one of my favorite sweets that I like to add, the meringues. So with the meringues, mostly nuts and seeds, and they're held together with egg whites. And they are delicious. They're sweet, just the right amount of sweet and salty. And they don't have a whole lot of added sugar, just enough to make the meringue. And those are really delicious as well. So I added a couple of extra recipes in here. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Cameron, if you would like to talk. You want me to? You got it. Okay.
Yeah, so the meringues, if there's a recipe that you want to try that you didn't get to sample the meringues, I highly recommend give them a try because they're delicious. Especially if you have a sweet tooth and you like cookies and things like that. The meringues are on point for that. All right. So as I said, I've been running for a little while, so I wanted to, hopefully you guys are going to sign up for the Run at Work 5K. And you're kind of working up to that. So to help you kind of get into that rhythm and prevent injury and things like that, I wanted to talk a little bit about running form and posture. All right. So, you're in elementary school, you take off for the 100-yard dash and you're leaning forward and you're running like heck and your legs are flying out behind you and you're all over the place and you look like a newborn deer. That's not great running posture, especially if you're going for any distance like a 5K. If you're doing a sprint, that might be a little bit different. But in general, running posture for any type of distance should be upright. So it's almost like Olivia tells us when she's doing any kind of yoga class. Imagine there's a string coming out the top of your head and pulling you toward the sky. Your posture really should be upright. And if you watch any of the marathoners, half marathoners, distance runners, you'll see them running very upright. It's very efficient. So all the research tells us that, you expand your lungs so you can take in oxygen a little bit better. Some people, when they're starting out running, they'll say, I get this stitch in my side and I can't go any further. My kids say that all the time. I got a cramp in my side. And I always tell them, stand up, expand your lungs so that you can get the air in and relax. You just have to do this at a relaxed pace. So stand upright. When I say relaxed, I mean, really drop your shoulders, relax your shoulders. So that's one of the things that I struggle with when I'm running because I'm thinking the whole time and my shoulders do like this, just like at work when you start to get stressed, everything kind of draws up. So I constantly have to repeat a little mantra to myself about relaxing my shoulders. I'll talk more about that in a second. And then the third thing in terms of posture is really engage your core. So this is a great opportunity to do an ab workout without doing an ab workout. So, you really should be thinking about, am I using my abs? Not swinging, but I'm keeping my midsection firm, solid, upright. I'm supporting my spine by engaging that core and working those ab muscles as well. So it's just a few tips about posture, running posture. So upright is the bottom line there. A couple of tips about your head. All right. So when I was a kid, I had this thing where I like to run. My parents say I like to see how fast I was going, but that isn't what I was doing. I was looking backwards to watch my shadow meet my feet. So I like to see my shadow connect with my feet because, it's like your imaginary friend. So I always ran down looking at my feet and subsequently ran into a tree. So that's the story my parents like to tell about me running into the tree while I was running. So don't do that. Moral of the story, look ahead, roughly a 10 to 15 foot distance in front of you. If you run outside like I do, that's a great opportunity to watch for the wildlife and the cars and, make sure you're not in any kind of danger. Be aware of your surroundings. Also, stay centered. So, in other words, keeping your head straight in front of you, not doing this the whole time. I have a tendency to do that because I run at sunrise, and so I like to look to watch the sun come up, and then I get a kink in my neck. So stay centered. And then again, don't look at your feet or drop your chin. You can practice this when you're walking through the office. I was running back and forth to the kitchen earlier today, and I noticed I'm looking at my feet. I don't know why I'm looking at my feet as I'm walking, but that's just kind of something that I do. And so I was like, all right, stand up straight and keep your head centered and walk like you're supposed to. So just a couple of tips there in terms of your head. Shoulders and arms, again, relaxing those shoulders, making sure you get your shoulders out of your ears. Your arms should be bent at roughly a 90-degree or a little bit less angle. When you start to bring them up like this, they call that kind of bad form because you're tightening up and you're stressing your muscles. So it should be relaxed at about a 90-degree angle. You should swing your arms forward and backward and not across your body. So I get in trouble with this every once in a while. So your elbows should be kind of out. And every once in a while, I'll start doing this number when I get tired. And if you notice, my whole self is moving. So that causes me to expend more energy than I need to. And so I'm not running very efficiently and I'm going to get tired quicker. Whereas if I can keep those arms side to side and not swing my whole self near as much, that's better running form. Obviously, arms should move in rhythm with your legs. Now, I take this for granted that people know that, when one leg goes up, the opposite arm goes up, right? And you're kind of in rhythm because that's how you walk. And I feel like people know that naturally. My eldest daughter taught me otherwise, very uncoordinated when it comes to that kind of thing. So, practice that, arms in concert with your legs. Apparently, it doesn't come naturally to everybody. And then the other thing is relax your hands. We were joking yesterday. I said, I used to run like I was running to a bar fight, fists clenched and I'm about ready to take somebody out. And again, you're expending way more energy than you need to. You're not running very efficiently. Whereas if you just a light fist, relax your hand. You can be a thumbs up runner like Olivia. She likes to do this number. But just relax your hands and be gentle, be easy, be efficient with your energy when you're running. In general, I've said it about 100 times, relax. Running can be really fun. The most efficient runners they're upright, they're relaxed, they're not over bending knees or hips. So in other words, it's not a lot of lift to your legs. It's a forward and back motion. The second point, run your run. So I'm built different than some people. I have a lot of legs. I have zero torso, I naturally have a bent to my body, so I'm going to lean a little bit more forward than most people. So run your run. Find what's comfortable for you. Remind yourself, right? Here's where my mantra comes in. So when I run in the mornings, I have to say things like, well, you can see me after class for my actual mantra, but I'll give you kind of a version of it. I usually say, all right, relax your shoulders, chest up, and use your core. That's what I say over and over and over. And I'll listen to my podcast or my music or whatever, and then I'll feel my shoulders doing this, and I say, relax your shoulders, chest up, use your core. That's what I always say. And so that just helps me stay in a good, relaxed running form. And then breathe deeply. There's no need to practice your hyperventilation techniques because that's bad. You don't want to pass out. So, in and out deeply in a rhythm to get your running form up to speed and just be relaxed and enjoy the run. And it really can be a very, very, very rewarding and fun experience. And it's the way I like to start my day because no one asks me for anything when I'm running down the street. Nobody needs anything. I can be alone with my thoughts. I've got beautiful scenery. It is an excellent way to start the day. So, questions? Any questions about the recipes, running form, any of that fun stuff?
I can't run yet.
Walking's great.
Yeah. Walking and starting to walk faster and jog a little.
Yeah.
And I have trouble with shin splints really bad, and Melissa said it was the way I was walking, to make sure I walk from heel to toe. Any other advice other than
The biggest thing I can say is relax. Like I'm a terrible walker because I walk with purpose, and I am big strides and stomping the ground. So one of the studies from the NIH says really that shorter strides that correspond to your height. So my stride is going to be a lot longer than Olivia's because I'm a lot taller than Olivia. But shorter strides that correspond to your height are much more efficient and reduce your risk for injury. So, not mall walking it like you're,
There's not a shoe sale.
there's no shoe sale. So you don't have to stride out quite so bad. So that may be one tip that can help too. There's a lot of research out there on shoes. Some people like minimal shoes. Some people like these maximum shoes. Really, there's not a whole lot of research that supports either. It's whatever your preference is and whatever helps you. So there are a lot of, if you start researching running, there are a whole lot of fads, running, walking, all those things that you can get into, just like anything. There's always the next best shoe or the next best protein powder or Gatorade sports drink or whatever. And most of that is a lot of fad, and you have to figure out what works for you. I tried Gatorade, but it's not worked for me. I can't do that. Can't do the goose. None of that. Give me a banana, and I'm a real happy girl. Digestively
Seems that,
speaking.
I can walk a lot further and better on a treadmill than outside, because that's the real deal out there.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, your treadmill is squishy. So
Yes, it is, yeah.
yeah,
And
so
concrete is
there's
not.
right, the ground is the ground. I mean, and typically if you're walking outside, you're either walking on asphalt or concrete.
Yeah.
And that's tough on your joints a little bit. Your treadmill has the shock absorption, most of them built in. So it's a little bit
that's-
friendlier.
I can do a whole lot more on there than,
Yeah. Outside's a whole different world,
yeah, that's right.
but it's what you're used to too. I hate a treadmill. I love the outside. Sherry Lynn loves the treadmill, hates running outside.
Yeah.
So it's all in the individual. But so y'all are both going to enter the race, right?
Yeah, we are,
Slowly but surely.
and, it will be a lot of walking.
That's all right.
And that's okay.
I say race, but it's really not a
But
race.
it is.
It's
I mean, it
just
is,
a
and,
run.
it'll be the first one I've ever done, so.
It's
No,
very
it's awesome.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be able to run, but I'll be able to do better than I am now.
We
So
can jog together.
There you go. That's right.
jogging is a lot. So.
What did we call it? It's a
Walk it out.
wog it. Yeah. wog.
Just walk it out. Walk
Right.
jog.
Yeah.
Walk it out. But anyway. All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
I think that's good. We can
All right.
cut our stream off, and y'all can enjoy as much food as you'd like.
Thank you guys.